I welcome you to a special episode, a special series of the Triple Effect.
Like it gets crazy out there sometimes.
Yes, I can imagine. Well, welcome to the Triple Effect. This is our podcast broadcast. This is an online way to get the message out there. I'm Rashid Hill, the host, and I'm a strategic intervention specialist and personal development coach with the main focus on emotional intelligence. I'm the published author of the book 8 Ways to Be 10 Times Better and contributor writer for the Life by Design Entrepreneur magazine here in San Diego. The founder of Ep30 Coaching Solutions and creator of the Hero Coaching High Excellence Results Option is the option. To help people unlock their true potential in order to pursue their desired lifestyle. On our show today, we are going to have a conversation with an exciting member of the community, someone that I was very impressed with from the beginning. And I look forward to hearing your COVID story. What has COVID done for you, against you, with you? What has it done to affect your life? So welcome, Miss
Nailah Bader now.
Yes. I was very careful. I was like, wait a minute. She just got married. So, oh my gosh.
I keep forgetting.
But no, that's fine. Well, go ahead, introduce yourself, give us a little background, and then we'll kind of start with some of the questions, if you will.
Okay. My name's Nailah. Used to be Edmondson, now Bader as of March 12th. The wedding barely made it, 3 days later, and it would have been postponed. I am in talent acquisition. I'm a recruiter with the San Diego Zoo Global Organization. I started there just this past October, so I'm still fairly new and learning a lot. Currently furloughed though, which is totally fine with me. And before that, I worked with Ace Parking Management, also in recruiting, and I actually started with Ace Parking in operations. So I was able to kind of find my way into HR through an old boss that I had that got into HR, and then he went back to operations and referred me. So thank God for him, because I was ready to escape the crazy hours and days and working holidays in operations.
Wow. Well, great. Definitely appreciate that. And just so the listeners know, we were working on a project to provide a service to job seekers, specifically here in the San Diego area, but I'm sure the information was applicable, to anybody that's seeking employment. But Miss Bader, correct, has identified something that I think is a problem pretty much, everywhere, is that when you have an opportunity to see people come in and interview or potentially interview and apply for a position, they need to have certain preparations that they may not be afforded that opportunity because of maybe their level in society, so to speak, not from their own fruition. Is just the fact that maybe the opportunities weren't there and they didn't have the opportunity to avail those things that some other people do. Can you get a suit? Can you get a tie? Can you get a haircut? Some people just don't have that facility, and therefore they show up with what they have. And so we were basically working on the project to help facilitate getting people job ready, interview ready, and ready to get in there and win those opportunities. So definitely a great setup. I look forward to continuing that conversation so we can provide that, because one of the things that I spoke with one of the callers yesterday was about in this COVID environment, what businesses are affected the most on the negative side, but what is going to happen post pandemic in the economy. And so one thing that we know for sure is that people that are furloughed or the company just went out of business that they worked for, service, food servers, these type of things, if they don't survive, a lot of people are going to be looking. And the service that we want to provide is definitely going to be in demand. So, so I look forward to having that conversation. But right now, I would like to know, do you think this virus or this pandemic, the global lockdown of sorts, do you think it's real and necessary? And do you believe the right measures have been taken to properly protect us?
I do think it's real. I feel like as far as the lockdown goes, it's very interesting to see the different states. I went to college on the East Coast for a few years. I have lots of family on the East Coast and know some friends in the Midwest and, pretty much all over. So I feel like the most interesting thing is to see like California lockdown just 3 days after my wedding completely, but to see like other states, like my family in North Carolina that are like in church on Easter Sunday, like graduations are still happening. So it's like crazy because like different people were experiencing the lockdown in different ways. And then what was the third?
What do you think necessary measures have been taken?
I think so. I would say so. I was surprised that everything started opening up in California so soon. I thought it would take more time. Right. Especially with the restaurants and bars. I mean, they opened up as of yesterday, and on my social media shows that a lot of people that I know are already out and enjoying being out. So I feel like it just closed down so quickly and it's opening so quickly. So I thought it would have taken a little bit longer.
A little bit longer. That's a good, that kind of leads me to that next question. Based upon, like I said, what you're looking at and what we all see, how long do you have, or have you thought about a time frame that you would be comfortable with? Or do you just kind of say, hey, right now, I just think it's too quick? Or is there, hey, maybe we should give it 6 months or so and then kind of revisit it? Do we have a vaccine? What kind of measurement do you have in mind? Or is it just kind of a general assessment?
Probably general. I thought it would have gone more through the middle of the summer, even maybe the end of the summer on lockdown, honestly. I thought that things wouldn't have opened up so quickly. Like they have these different stages, I know in San Diego, but I thought it would have been like one thing each stage just to see like, okay, we've opened this one thing, how's that doing? Instead, it seems like it's just, ever since the protesters in North County at the beaches, it was like next week, it was like the beaches were open, or most of them. So I don't know if I had an exact timeline. I just figured they would take more time in between of like maybe 2 weeks of seeing like, have the numbers gone up, what's going on, and maybe even longer than that, because people aren't going to start going out right away. You're going to have a good amount that do, but there's also going to be a lot of people that don't go out right away. So
true. Yeah, and absolutely. I feel the same way. And I really, I honestly believe it's definitely too quick. We don't have enough information to feel comfortable going back out there and mingling of sorts. I'm not a beach guy, so I don't have the surfboard in Costa Rica, but just so so I'm not rushing to go back out to no beach, but I do necessary runs to the store and things like that, and I don't have a problem with a mask. I don't. Some people are just fighting mad over wearing a mask. I'm like, really? Would you rather find out 14 days later that your problem is not as big as the problem you got now? So I'm fine with that, and I understand the arguments for and against the mask, and I can go into that, but I have another question on that in that area, but I'd rather focus on some things that might be. I wouldn't say more important, but kind of more interesting, I would say. So do you? Well, here's an interesting question, and I base a lot of this off of the news and things that I've heard. So it might be kind of strange, but hey. Do you think blacks, young children, and anyone with a mask is immune to this virus?
No.
Well, it's just things that I hear. It's kind of funny when I hear stuff like that. Now, the non-funny part, obviously, is the children. I think initially there was conversation about, hey, they're not being affected. Babies, are not affected, and so they thought maybe it's a targeted type virus. But then you have this kind of follow-on type issue and conditions with the swelling and the bruising or respiratory issues, so there's definitely that's another concern if it's doing that. So I just threw that out there because I've heard some weirdness on that. So what's your thoughts on the treatment of the Africans that are in Wuhan or some areas of China since this breakout started?
I haven't seen too much on it just because I try not to watch the news.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're targeting them because they just think they're gonna all get it and then pass it on to them quicker than the Chinese people. I don't understand what the logic was behind that. I don't know if you've heard more and
I don't get it either.
People are stranded because their countries can't come in and get them because they can't afford it, or for whatever reason they have their own issues going on in their country. So I don't understand.
Yeah, no, I don't either, and that's kind of why I even throw it in there, is just to see if there's another angle to this, because one of my comments on that issue was it's not about race, it's more about color. And so they didn't care where they were from. They were like, look, if you're dark, you're going to get treated this way. And so it kind of hit home, whereas obviously we see what's going on in our nation, and it's based on color, and so it don't matter where you're at in the world. It seems to be, I don't care if you're from Africa, you're dark. And so we're going to treat you that way, and because Americans had some of the problems as well that were over there, and so I saw some interviews and things like that about that, but it was shameful, but I had some friends in Ghana and some in Uganda, and they posted some things about some of the leaders. Nigeria had some issues with it, and called out some of the ambassadors to China that was in their country, and they put it on video telling them, look, do you know what's going on? Why is it happening? It needs to stop right now, and so on and so forth, and they were very serious about that. And some of them basically saying, hey, I saw a video that they were rounding up Chinese in the Ivory Coast, wherever they were doing a lot of the projects that they kind of partnered with those countries. They were rounding up Chinese, basically saying, look, you're going to have to go. And they had them outside the fence, like, it's not your house anymore. They were serious. Like, y'all want to be like that? Okay. So
I'm wondering too if it's from China seeing the US and maybe other countries where the Black community was getting it quicker, that they felt like, ooh, we need to get rid of them. We need to put them all in one area because the same thing's going to happen here if we just let them be free. I wonder.
And that's an interesting, I mean, a valid point. I think that one, it's shameful to think that one group of people. Here's the strange thing, and I say this, and I don't want to take it off course too much, but when I look at reports about treatment of on an international scale, America goes into a country and this happens. America goes into this country, this happens. So there are people out there and nationalities out there that basically say, you know what, America, we're really tired of you meddling in our business. But here's where the problem is, though. Those nations will not directly oppose the US. They will find another subsection, another country that has a smaller footprint in their country, and they will target them.
Yeah.
You know, because of what America maybe is or is not doing. And that's what the unfortunate thing is. So when you see the Africans in China, but the problem is, your argument is, why is America blaming us for this disease?
Yeah.
Why is America saying it started here? Why is it, you know, so why you attacking this African guy that can't, you kick him out of his apartment?
Yeah.
You know, so that's why it's disturbing, because that's just one example. I mean, it happened in Afghanistan, it happened in Saudi Arabia, it happens everywhere. They don't, you know, they're not going to target America. They're going to target some subsection of some country over here. I'm like, what they got to do with this? Yeah. So anyway, so yes, moving on. So what's your idea about this particular issue? Is the President of the United States in charge of the response to this pandemic? One, is he showing proper leadership in spite of the unknowns that we all have with this virus that's spreading? Why or why not?
I don't think he is, because he's like, I feel like he's not sure of himself when he says things. Like early on when he was saying, you know, oh, I'm going to have all the states, you know, open back up. And some of the governors were like, no, we're not. And then he came back and was like, actually, we're not going to do that. So I don't think he really, like, I don't know who's like behind the scenes with him. Like, right. If they tell him to say something else and he's just coming out and saying the opposite, but like whatever plan he ever comes up with, I feel like it's never like, I'm sure about this. Like, he's right. coming out, this is what's going to happen. You know, I feel strongly that this will work. I have no other motives behind it. I feel like so many times that's happened.
Yeah.
California was one of them that was like, no, we're not going to listen to you. We're going to stay safe and we're going to stay closed a little bit longer.
That's interesting. So, yeah. You know, that's a great point. You know, and obviously the tweets to the Michigan residents was not helpful. You know, and yeah, that we could definitely take a whole detour onto that conversation, but I definitely think that people understand how interesting the episodes of people with guns standing in front of the Capitol, standing in front of the desk of the employees that work for the mayors and governors and so on and so forth. Definitely out of line, ridiculous. But hey, you know what? I've said it. When you see those pictures of these really interesting people, I haven't seen any black people do it, but I'm just saying. When you see people with guns that feel that they need to go and yell very, very belligerently to say, you're encroaching on my rights, and please open this city, state back up because we're only barely affected. I think about what happened, let's say 3 months ago, when they were in their office, in their cubicles, next to their coworkers saying, I hate my job, I hate my boss, I wish I was not here, I need more time with my kids. Where did that go? So, you know, so I'm just saying. Or they could have, you know, been by the water cooler, or they could have been by the tree stump. Wherever they were having that conversation. And now they want to fight to get back to that situation so they can have that same conversation again. Yeah. I think it's a group think. I think it's the herd mentality. They see other people doing it and they feel like, hey, protest. Ooh, yeah, let me go do that too. Yeah. So here's really the question, I guess, what really is the focus of our conversation. What is your COVID story? What has COVID done for or to your life in the last 2 or 3 months?
I feel like I've had a good story, a good COVID story. I know people that are like over being in the house and they're single, so they're alone. And but me personally, you know, for the past, I mentioned this to you in the LinkedIn message, that for the past 9 years, I've worked a full and part-time job straight. So for me, COVID-19 is a vacation. You know, I'm able to finally, like, you know, work out on a regular schedule. I have a routine. I'm able to eat healthier because I'm able to take the time to cook.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I've already lost some pounds that I'm trying to lose, so me and my husband are doing good on that.
Okay. Okay.
We bought bikes again, so every day I'm either hiking, biking, or running.
Great.
I still get up at 6:30 in the morning, like I'm going to work, do a workout. Well, first I've really gotten into the stock market, so it's
Oh,
my newest addiction. So
wow.
6:30 or before 6:30, I'm up, checking out the
Interesting.
stock market, trying to invest, hoping for, I mean, a big one in the future. Um, what else am
That
I?
is interesting.
Yeah,
I'm thrilled that you said that.
yeah. Able to spend more time with my grandma. She's lives on her own. She still works, but I get to go over and see her and like have more time with her. What else have I been doing? Me and my husband are working on starting a small business. I have time for that. Um, just being able to like have time to myself. It's like, for like, my boss called me yesterday mentioning like, oh, this is the plan we're thinking of, because, you know, like I mentioned, I'm furloughed. We're thinking this is when we may open, but we don't really know. So just wait for the call, but we'll give you a week notice. And I was like, I could be furloughed forever. So I mean, compared to most people, I'm enjoying my COVID-19. I don't have kids, so I don't have to worry about that. My husband is working, you know, from home pretty much most of the day, so I'm able to run around and get out.
Yeah.
So
Great. Great. No, and that, people need to know that. I think, and I had a question. Just for a disclaimer, I have 3 pages of questions, but not for you personally. But I was just thinking of different things that maybe for the individual that's being interviewed, what might be something that they would kind of want to express or talk about. And so I felt like these were just to kind of.
your volume's kind of going out. I can't
Oh,
hear
okay.
you. Okay, that's much better.
So yeah, so I think that your story is definitely similar to mine. I have a newborn, and so around March 16th, I was already on leave. So basically, I was like, oh, okay, full-time telework. Wow, look at that.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have taken leave. But I'm like, hey, look, I ain't opening my computer. Don't talk to me. I'm good. But excuse me. So I worked on a lot of projects in the yard and out, just cleaning up the area because I had to set up space for my son to start his schoolwork. Yeah. A lot of online shopping activity. But definitely, like you said, just having the opportunity to do the things that maybe you had put off or weren't able to, or just didn't have time or energy to do, but you want to do.
Yeah.
And so this was that silver lining of the fact, hey, I can actually do some of these things. The 2 key parts of that I think kind of from now my entrepreneurial hat is the stock market as well as starting a business. So one of the things that I do mentor and coach veterans that's transitioning, military transition, and kind of career counseling. So some of them want to have a government job, want to find a job. Okay, got it. Resumes is kind of the key thing. The other ones actually say, you know what, I've worked for 20 plus years. I have an idea, and I really want to explore that. So I believe wholeheartedly that there are people that's in your position saying exactly what you're saying. Like, hey, you know what? Instead of being miserable, I had this idea. Let me figure out how to start this business because you have the time to figure it out.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's great. I've heavily been into the stock market as well, which I've been putting off for a long time because I love forex. cryptocurrency. And I was like, you know what? I believe somebody's going to come with a vaccine. I need to be the one that
Oh
helps.
yeah.
So I have a few of those.
You're going out again.
Oh, ah,
I don't know what's this. Like, there's something in the background that's like sounds like a wave or something is coming through. Like you were perfect earlier, and then all of a sudden it's kind of going in and out.
oh, that's not good. Well, hopefully we'll get through this in a good fashion. I do have. I usually turn my fan on in the morning. I kind of like the breeze, and so. But normally I don't hear it coming through. So, but there may be some issues. I have. That's why I say I normally don't wear the headphones. I usually kind of like to keep it.
Yeah.
But I found that when my kids and people, you know, so it keeps me focused. So hopefully, yeah, the sound and like you said, the voice will kind of stay steady. Because I do experience that a lot with this platform. Like I said, keeping the signal and things like that. So let me ask you this. Do you think putting $1,000 into the hands of citizens is better, or should there be more focus on student loan, car loan, house loan forgiveness? Or should there be $1,000 to $2,000 per month until this subsides, or let's say 6 months, versus a one-time, should it be 6 months? Or do you have any other ideas on how economically maybe the government can support its citizens?
Maybe I would say that each month, like Canada's doing, just because if you're focusing just on houses and cars, like there's some people in poverty or just, they don't have a house or a car. So their need isn't there. They actually need the cash. So at least that monthly money that you would get, you can do it. You need to do with it. I feel like the one-time thing, people are probably just going to blow that on something they probably didn't even need.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say more like Canada, the monthly, the people can do what they need to do with it.
That's great. That's great.
I also the other day had mentioned to someone, because I was thinking about, every state, like your pay is different. If you're in Alabama in an operations management position, you're going to be making way lower than one in San Francisco. So, but that person got the money and the person in San Francisco isn't. So that's another issue. And the person in San Francisco is still struggling as well because the cost of living's crazy, and maybe their company, they were laid off or they have a car payment or mortgage or whatever. I almost wonder if they should have done something that was more like state related. I know that would have taken some more time and been a little trickier, but I feel like some people got it and some people didn't that are in the same position, but they're just in different states.
It's interesting because, as you know, during the presidential campaign, I was a staunch supporter of Andrew Yang and the universal basic income. And so now he has this nonprofit, Humanity Forward, and they're giving out money. They just got a $5 million donation from the Twitter CEO to further his program. And that was, kind of when I hear the conversations about the money and how they're going to dump more money into the economy without having or resisting the conversation of what that does to the value of the dollar. And then that takes us into the stock market and so on and so forth. And so to keep it kind of central to universal basic income, I think, or emergency funds, I agree. I mean, I put the question out there and just, hey, it's fine. Some people there are staunch believers that no handouts should be made.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, the $1,000 a month, I'm with, like a continuous $1,000 a month. I think that's reasonable. I think it can be afforded, and so on and so forth. $500 for kids under 17, I get it. But $2,000 a month? No. I'm not. I don't support that. And I think it's too much. I think we want to give people an opportunity to have the desire to do for themselves. Get them back on their feet. You know, it's just like taking a test. Just like my son doing his homework. I can give you the answer, but I'd rather give you enough information to help you find the answer. But I'm not going to sit here and just watch you struggle. You know? You're over there squirming in your seat. I'm like, But, you know, so I think it's the same concept. Is you can't just do it for it. You just can't do it. And there's two problems with that. Like I said, it's just you have to print more money, and you're going to devalue the dollar more and more and more, which, you know, the dollar's about what 30 now. What are you going to do if you print more money? It's not good. But here's the as you realize, Americans are consumers, and like no other. And so the more, you know, if you're sitting around saying, I can't get it, I just lost my job, or I'm about to lose my job, and okay, thank you, government, for giving me, you know, $1,000. Oh my gosh, you're going to give me $2,000 as well. Okay, and they say, oh, we're going to do this for 6 months. Well, guess what? They are going to get used to spending all of that money every month and work. They're going to be like, work? Are you crazy?
I mean, that's already happening. I mean, right now with the whole $600 extra for unemployment, I talked to one of my old coworkers from my old company, and he was more in a business partner position, so he's still working and dealing with the employees and trying to get people to come back. And he's like, I've already seen people that are like, I'm not coming back. It's like I was making $13 an hour, and now I'm making max $450 a week plus the $600 a week. Like, wow. I'm gonna ride this out until that ends. But like you said, it sucks because once they're making that amount of money for that many months, they get so used to it, then that's gonna run out, and then you have to go back, and you probably didn't save any of that, and you splurged on things, or you bought a new car that you shouldn't have bought because you can't afford with making minimum wage or just above that. So that'll be interesting, because at first I was thinking, because we had just hired a bunch of people before everything shut down with our organization. I was like, oh, we'll be able to easily get everyone to come back because they haven't been working. But then I'm like, wait a minute, they may just ride it out until their unemployment runs out. It's like, why come back sooner than that when I could be making all this extra money and not working?
Wow.
So,
that's definitely something to look at. And you know, and that's why I asked the question about, you know, like with the president, you know, no matter what the political persuasion and my personal feelings, which I won't get into, but that's a hard job. Like,
no, yeah.
What are you going to do? I mean, think about the New York, you know, mayor or whatever, governor, mayor, whichever one. Cuomo, right? He's saying, look, we're having a lot of problems. We need help. Like right now, we need to do the national emergency, and so put it out there that'll free up some funds and help us get what we need. Then, after the president says, "Okay, I'm trying to do this part. I got the national emergency." Okay, so y'all asked for it. I gave it to you. Now, when it's time to open back up, and the president says, "Hey, you know what? We're going to do it in phases. You may want to hold up over here." Da 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 da. Now, all of a sudden, the governor is saying, you don't tell us what to do. So you ask for help. They give you the help. Like jumping over. I mean, you know, and I don't know if you saw it, but, you know, Trump got a tweet and somebody says, hey, Trump said, hey, we need to really get these masks. We need to get these ventilators to New York. And he did it in a tweet. Somebody in California, Silicon Valley says, oh, I can hook you up. I got that. Really? Within 3 days. 3 days. My man had $69 million in his bank account. 3 days. That's ludicrous. I work for the government. That's crazy. I mean, contracting. That does not happen. So, from a tweet to the world. You know, so that's the COVID effect for real. And so, obviously, they're trying to get the money back. And they haven't gotten it all back. I mean, I would say, wow, look at that $69 million. Hey, do I have an account in Thailand? Well, I do now.
Yeah. It's gone.
I don't have the money, sir. I'm sorry. You're going to have to work with my lawyer to get that back. And $69 million will get you a lot of lawyers to defend you. So anyway, so that's so these are some of the things that's happening, and so you have a president that struggles already with low level of competence, and now he's put in a position where a lot of smart people around him, but they're taking advantage of him, just like Kennedy was taking advantage of to invade Cuba. So you depend on these people to tell you the truth. And now,
but does he really? He probably really wants them to lie to. If I were him and this happened, I feel like I would have to kind of get with a few of the top governors of these states, like Florida, New York, California, these large states with just like masses of people from all over the world coming in just to see what everyone's like, what they think their issues aren't, just to kind of scale like what we need to do and not do. It's kind of hard if you're not speaking with those people and just coming up with things, because it's not going to work for every state. Like you can't say every state's going to open up tomorrow, because you have Arkansas, where people are pretty much already social distancing by the way they live. They're not on top of each other compared to like New York. So I feel like you have to have a different plan for those different populations.
Right. No, and I think there's some of them out there that are being a little more respectful, and understanding of the challenges, and they're providing that guidance, and they're allowed to kind of do their own thing. But I think with the whole group mentality of, hey, you know what, I'm in the house, I don't really have the support of a great network as far as business, supervisory, management, they get a little testy, and they want to, kind of do things that are unorthodox and not ride it out. But one of the, I'll tell you what, okay. One of the questions that I kind of wanted to explore is, so what would be your course of action or reaction or coping method if you or someone you know was hospitalized because of this coronavirus?
Oh man, I don't know, because it's like, although I know it's real, it feels like, it can't happen to anyone I know. Like, I don't know, because I feel like it would depend on who it is. I think right now with so many people that are either like, I need to get out, they've been ready to get out of the house, they think it's stupid that we're on lockdown, compared to the people that aren't. And I feel like a lot of times it's, do you have a health issue, or like, do you have someone that you're worried about? Because for me, it's like my grandma here. It's like, I worry about her the most. She's the reason why I was probably on lockdown more than if she wasn't around. I probably would be like, I don't care, I'm out more, and around more people. But because of her, like, I care about it more compared to, one of my friends that I have that's just like, I just want to be out. This isn't fair. Like, why do they still have us on lockdown? The cases are down. I feel like it just depends on who you care about and who's around. I see so many people they're out. They've been out having parties, and I don't know. I don't know how I would cope, because there's just so much unknown. Like, people are getting different symptoms. I mean, even now, different stuff's still coming up. So
Right.
I feel like the biggest thing is like who it would be. If it was like a friend or my brother, I mean, I'd be concerned, but like not as concerned as like with my grandma.
Right.
Even younger people have died as well. I just worry more about her, and I really had to get on her in the beginning because she's so used to. I get it from her of like going nonstop. She still works. She's trying to run over here, trying to run over there. I've been picking up all of her groceries for her, trying to keep her from going to the store so much. But I know every time I go to her house, she's annoyed with me because I'm like, you can't do this. You can't touch that. You're out. You touched the thing. Like, why aren't your gloves on? I'm just like on her case. So
That's funny.
I don't know. I feel like if she got it, I would like be losing my mind.
No, and rightfully so. I think, like you said, if it's more family, somebody that you're close to, you definitely. One of the things that we talked about early on when we were still in the office, around like the first week of March or so, when this was kind of bubbling, we were like, well, some of the people were like, it's just like the flu. Why are we not concerned about the flu? I'm like, yeah, okay. You keep that thought, and yeah. So, and then the other kind of the other section of folks, we were more like, the way this is going, you will know somebody, or somebody that will know somebody that got this virus.
That's what's scary, yeah.
It literally that it is that close to us. Now, there's a perspective that a good friend of mine was talking yesterday, that he is of the mindset that this is ridiculous and it's encroaching upon our constitutional rights to be locked down like this. Okay, got it. Which I was glad to have him on. I call it his truth. And so he was but he has the data. So if you're a data-driven person,
oh, geez,
you get into the, what I'm saying? This is the science versus, other than science kind of argument. So you get into that and you're like, hey, it's about the numbers. The numbers don't lie. So if it's less than 1% of the global population that's died, the infections, yes, the recoveries are way more than the deaths. And so looking at the numbers, he made a point of the numbers don't lie. There's, in 1 month of the year, more people died, or more people committed suicide in 1 month than all of the COVID deaths over the 3 or 4 months that it's been out.
That's crazy.
It is like, and so that's high impact for me. I get it. And it's not something that I can discount in the level of importance that has in our society, which I think both are important. And he made that point as well, that, yeah, I mean, people are dying and deaths are, it's important to understand that. But he says, but looking at it, in this context, you start to kind of say, why is there not more energy going toward, why is it not considered a pandemic or an epidemic of this type of proportion because of the suicides? This is just America, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, valid point. And so moving into COVID and the COVID effect, one of the things that I've read and listened to a lot of is there's this elevated amount of domestic abuse in violence, in this time. Have you heard or known any cases or issues that happen, or you kind of heard anything like towards the news, or what's kind of your experience with what's going on in that area?
I haven't personally, but I've definitely seen a lot of the articles just talking about the increase of it, child abuse, all abuse. I mean, because everyone's at home. It's like you have no escape now. Or if you were getting physically abused by your husband or your wife and they go to work, it's like you have an escape. Or now it's like they're always there and you can't say, oh, I'm going to run to my friend's house. It's like, no, you're not supposed to be over there. So it's like, it's so much harder to have that escape, or even for people that were thinking about running away, from that person. It's like, how are you going to do that now? Like, how are you going to pack up a bag and like walk out of the front door and they're right there? So I can't even imagine that feeling, especially having kids too. If you have kids in that environment, I don't even know.
No, you're right. I mean, and that's why, like I said, while I was going through and thinking of, the issues that I've seen and heard, that kind of took a own life of itself when I started writing. I was like, wow. I mean, what if you're, two parents that have visitation of a child, and one household is toxic and not conducive to growth, and the other one is, I can't wait to get back to that one. and
Yeah.
you're stuck in the one that's toxic, and it's like, man, that child is, woo.
I saw a story the other day on Vice News. I was talking about the whole visitation with parents that are split up, and one of the stories they kind of highlighted this ex couple that they were doing really good with it. You know, their normal visitation rights was that the dad, I think, only got the daughter every other weekend, and the mom had her pretty much all the other time. But the mom's a doctor.
Mhm.
So in this situation, it was like, oh, the mom didn't feel comfortable with her being at home, you know, her being at the hospital and being exposed to all of these cases. So her and her ex-husband actually got together and made an agreement like, hey, during this time, I'd rather her be with you more, which they were really great about it. It worked out. Of course, the mom or the daughter, they miss each other. But there's a lot of couples that can't be cordial and come to an agreement. So that just creates even more issues. But that was something that I wouldn't have even thought of until I saw that story, because I don't have kids yet. So, but yeah, it's crazy. You have a court order, the court closed, so you can't really go in and say, hey, this is happening. We need to change this. And a lot of people aren't coming together and agreeing. So that just sucks for the kids.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I mean, that's something that I think, you know, while we are involved in this time, you know, we really come across, you know, so many different situations that we probably never really thought about. And like you said, I mean, you don't have kids yet, and so you don't necessarily think about some of those challenges, you know. And I don't think it's not because you don't want to type thing. It's just like you said, it's like, hey, okay, I hear you, but you know, I ain't got to homeschool nobody.
I thank God.
That's like,
I've seen some amazing single moms that I know, or that I've seen on social media, that, you know, have a couple kids, single mom, working from home, trying to get them, you know, on learning and doing their thing. It's like keeping the house together, cooking. I'm like, you guys are superheroes.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. And like having your own sanity, and like you have like no time for yourself. It just, especially with smaller children, because I've seen a lot of people that are single with smaller children.
Yeah.
It's not like they're like 10 and 13 where they can go and play by themselves. They're like 5 and 3, you know, just bothering you all day.
Yep. I totally understand. I have a 9 and a 3-year-old and a newborn. Yeah. It's intense. I've been that person. You know, my wife was, you know, basically her mother was here for about a month after she had the baby, so she was very helpful.
That's nice.
You know, I'm trying to make sure that kids are fed, put in the bed. She was in the bed because she had a C-section, so it's intense. There is no time.
No you times.
You know, so this is I always like people to understand, and I think people kind of get it. There's it's just life. There is no complaint. It's just life, and we deal with it and we appreciate it, because when I was in England, I was in the Air Force. I was in England some years ago, and I had my firstborn, and I was, you know, hey, you know, it's my firstborn and all this. But there were ladies in the office that's been trying to have a baby forever. Couldn't have baby.
That's a tough one. That's
and so I always remember that. I always, you know, I say I have to appreciate all of that that I go through, all of the sleepless nights, all of the fussing and the fighting, you know, the tough emotions that because you don't know, you know, they're not telling you what the problem is. They're like, oh yeah, you need to change my diaper. You know, it's just, you have to just deal with it, and it's crazy. And so I always reflect back, you know, in those challenges and say there are people that cannot have kids, but they love kids. And so I have kids, and I'm like, I cannot be complaining here. This is I mean, wow, the lessons that they do. But I believe kids do teach us so much, and they keep us young. So,
Yeah.
no, but I appreciate you. I don't want to take up, like I said, all of your time, and I definitely have challenges when I'm trying to put all this together when it's over an hour. So, it's a big file to upload. Um, but it's been great though. I've really enjoyed the conversation, and I think that people will definitely get value from hearing, other perspectives and other stories, even if they're having some trouble or challenges. Just to know that there are people out there that have good and bad issues, and the ones that are faring well are concerned about the ones that are not. And I think they can hear that in the interviews that I've done, as well as the one that we're doing now. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, well, I would say one last question, and I know I'm sitting here I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want it to be like one of those. So I would say this: do you see an economic opportunity with the advent of the crisis or pandemic? Is there, because you hit on it a little bit earlier, so I thought I would let you kind of close out with, hey, here's kind of what you're doing in that segment from an economic perspective, looking towards the future. How do you see this, the silver lining of the COVID effect, helping you from an economic perspective or can help others?
Sorry, you were going in and out. Say that last part again.
Oh, sorry. So basically, talk a little bit about, from an economic perspective, like some of the things that you're doing that could set you up for kind of a better way forward as far as a business, or looking at opportunities, based on this COVID effect. What type of economic future do you see starting, and taking advantage of the moments you have now?
Yeah, I think there's a huge advantage right now. For me personally, because I have the time off, like I said, I've always kind of wanted to get into stocks, like you mentioned. So now I have more of the time, and everything is so low in the stock market. It's like you don't have to have $1 million to invest and make good money, especially right now. So there's a huge opportunity in that. And also having the time to educate yourself on stocks. I'm still very new, so I try to watch different podcasts and read different articles, and but I have the time to do it, because before I would have probably just been buying random things and I didn't have any time. And definitely, it's given, for the past year and a half, me and my husband have talked about starting some sort of business, and just thinking about all these different ideas, and going through the wedding planning. I was like, maybe we should do something wedding planning related, because it's people spend money on weddings. And another thing that got me thinking about it, not that we're going to do videography or photography, because that'd be too much. And I'd have to learn all the editing. I'm I don't have time for that, or I don't want to. But I saw that a lot of couples, and I was looking for our videography and photographer, so many married couples were doing it. And I was like, this is genius. You have your normal full-time salary job during the week, but you have the opportunity to pick up some weddings on the weekend, or even weekday nights, or any kind of events at nighttime. And it's it's not that much to start it up, just buy a few software, whatever else they need. So it's not a ton of money to start up. And then you can do it together. You don't have to pay anyone. That's my kind of business startup, low cost. So we're thinking about doing a photo booth business. We kind of looked into the different photo booths, the costs, but it's something that we could easily both do together. It's something that just one of us can do if we're busy, but it's an easy way to make some extra cash we're also talking about buying a house over the next year and a half. So it's another stream of income that can help cover the mortgage. So I definitely see a a positive in all this and having the time. And I've seen so many start small businesses, and
Yeah.
definitely a huge opportunity.
Great. Yeah, I'm with you 100%.